Everybody, Howard Jacobson here, and today I want to talk to you about self-love. And it's been a long day, and I'm a little bit beat, so I'm going to try to keep it fairly short. And I bet you think you know what I'm going to say. That self-love is like the most important thing when you're going to change your health habits, you change your behaviors. Because, there's people who don't love themselves, and then why would they do anything nice for themselves? Or they want to change, right? I want to lose weight because I'm so disgusting and I hate myself. And of course, we don't want to go at behavior change from that perspective. But I'm suspicious of self-love as the prime motivator for change in an ongoing way. And I hear people talking about this all the time, like what I really needed in order to get on the right track was to love myself. And there's absolute truth to that. And there's also, I think, some misdirection. So I like watching this TV show called The Americans. I can't handle too many in a row because it's very, very dark. But one thing I discovered was that the co-stars, the husband and wife on the show, actually met and fell in love during the filming of the series. And I think one of them divorced their partner, or they were going through a divorce. And anyway, now they're married and they've got kids. And it's Kerry Russell and Matthew Rhys, and they met as co-stars, portraying a married couple. And I got to thinking, how often does that happen? That in Hollywood, a co-starring couple who are acting, who are paid to read words on a page and say them and act them out, pretending to love this colleague or stranger, how many times do they end up actually falling in love? And so this was a fun Google search of co-stars who fell in love on set. And I'm not much, for popular culture, so I'm leaving out the names that I have never heard of. But here's a short list. Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar, Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart, Liz Taylor and Richard Burton, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, Liam Hemsworth and Miley Cyrus, Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling, Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder, Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz, Kerry Russell and Matthew Rhys. And again, that's not comprehensive. That's not an exhaustive list. And something like, what is going on there? And of course, what does this have to do with what I'm talking about right here about self-love? And here's the thing. There's a big difference between the feeling of falling in love and being in a long-term loving relationship, right? Like when I would fall in love with someone, they could do no wrong and I would do anything for them. Think of the Dylan song, Make You Feel My Love, right? All the things that, I'd crawl to the ends of the earth for you to make you feel my love. And that's kind of the feeling you get in the passionate beginnings of a love affair. You would do anything. We change in remarkable ways when we're in love, right? But then what happens when we're together in a relationship and the romance has cooled? Do we still keep behaving in those ways? I didn't. So, I'm in a loving relationship, which doesn't stop me from doing things like keeping the toilet seat up, even though my partner would very much like me to put the toilet seat down and keep it down. Things like leaving toothpaste residue in the bathroom sink. All right. And I'm sure you can come up with a list of things too that annoy people that you love, and yet you still do them. So if self-love were the answer, all we would have to do is just fall in love with ourselves, and then we would engage in these healthy habits and behaviors for the rest of our lives. But self-love is no different than love of another person, right? It's not like all of a sudden, well, I hate them, so I'm going to squeeze the toothpaste all over the bathroom sink, or I'm going to purposely leave the seat up, and while I'm at it, I'm going to pee all over the seat, right? Like, it's not that I'm being cruel or nasty. There's still the love there, but the habits are what matter. It's the actions that we do day after day that actually either build or erode the love, whether it's love of self or love of someone else. So all those actors who fell in love with each other, I watched a movie scene being filmed once. I don't get to do this a lot, but it was a public place, and it was some movie about King David, and it was being filmed in Jerusalem, and I was living there at the time. And I remember watching, they had all the big lights and the boom mics and the everything, and the two actors whom I did not know were going over these like 3 lines again and again and again. I was there for like 45 minutes when I was finally convinced that being a film actor was probably the least glamorous job I could ever imagine. It's like working on bolt number 79 at the plant. And realizing that these actors who are working together, acting as if they love each other, scene after scene after scene, take after take after take, that those actions become ingrained as habits, and those habits lead to actually falling in love. And some of them stay in love, right? Some of them have had long, storied relationships and marriages. Others have famously fallen away from each other. Apparently Johnny Depp's Winona Forever tattoo was then changed to Wino Forever. And I don't think the vampire couple from what the heck was that movie? The trilogy. I don't think they stayed together. Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart. That doesn't matter, right? Because what we're talking about is habits creating emotional states, as opposed to relying on emotional states to create habits. As opposed to saying, what I've really got to work on now is self-love, so that I can eat right, so that I can get up in the morning and go for my walk, so that I can sit down and meditate, so that I can take time for self-care. We can do self-love for a little while. We can try to fall in love with ourselves. But if we don't use that energy to establish habits that become routine and non-negotiable, who become basically our other self, because we know our habits are already our other self, right? Our habit, like, oh, I'm going to do this, and meanwhile the habit self is going and doing the other thing. It's like we don't even get a vote, right? So the vote we do get is to intercede on that habit level. So don't fall in love with self-love as the solution to all of your problems. Yeah, I'm not saying go after weight loss by hating yourself, right? Like, there's just like nobody, if we could hate ourselves thin, everyone would be thin, right? Because that's a strategy that many of us use. You disgusting piece of, right? I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that self-love by itself, and self-love sought as an end unto itself, is not going to get you there. And it's going to end up feeling hollow. And you may have to end up, erasing your tattoo when you become disillusioned. So instead, how about simple self-regard, right? I don't have to be deeply in love with someone to not mess up their environment, right? If I share a hotel room with someone, it's not like, well, I don't love that person, so I'm going to piss all over the seat and pour toothpaste down the bathroom sink. It's not about love. It's about simple decency and self-regard. So that's what I would say we can aim for with ourselves. Simply treating ourselves the way we would treat a stranger. That's already like, a bar higher than many of us react to our own beings. But beyond that, let go of this idea of the emotions are the most important thing and really focus on the behaviors, the habits, just getting into the habit. So in the last year, I've actually gotten much better at cleaning out the bathroom sink. And you know how I did it? It wasn't through self-love. It was through my wife writing in lipstick on the mirror, please clean the bathroom sink. And I saw it every morning for a couple of weeks, and I remembered to do it, and I didn't have to sit and meditate on love. I didn't have to play with my wedding ring. I didn't have to go and read the marriage contract. I didn't have to go and recall the early days. I simply had to remind myself, oh yeah, here's a reminder. This is how a decent person acts towards someone in their environment. And within a couple of weeks, I was able to erase the message from the mirror. And I think if you asked my wife, she'd say, I'm doing awfully well. I don't think I have left the sink dirty because it doesn't have to follow an act of love anymore, because it's simply a habit that I practiced until it became second nature. Hope this is useful. If it is, think about the retreat, sick2fit.com/retreat. We have, I believe, one space left. If you want to come and spend a long weekend with me and Josh Lajani, really working on habits, on behaviors, and things that will stick and maintain and self-perpetuate. So check it out again, sick2fit.com/retreat. And we look forward to hearing from you if you're interested, and we'll have a talk and see whether it is right for you. All right, that's it for me. Have a great evening, everybody, and be well.